Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's July the 11th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to wrap up our week. No chart lessons on Fridays, and unfortunately, I'm already late getting this up. It's 6:30. I've already done this thing one time, spent 40 minutes on it, and found out I had no audio at all. So I'm a little perturbed with myself. I almost called it a day, but I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to go through these trades, but I'm not going to spend much time on them, and I'm going to go through them really quickly. And I apologize, but it's pretty frustrating to have that happen. And it doesn't happen often, but every once in a blue moon, the volume will be non-existent or some kind of interference or something, or my battery dies or something. But I apologize. I don't know what happened, but there's absolutely no audio on the original video that was about 35 minutes long. There's a lot of volume today. You can see the big reversal here. Uh, we're reversing off this oversold area up here. You can see the last time, a few times, we didn't even hardly get up to it. This time we did on this huge rally. And maybe this is the upper side of the green. We'll see. Um, we may be going to get a correction here now. Maybe this blue channel's over and we'll get a correction down, and then we'll look for something back to the upside again. Just not sure at this point. I mean, this trend line may hold. It's hard to say if that. I mean, it looks like a close outside to me. Is it convincing? It's close. So we could still go higher yet. I've seen days where they'll fake you out like this, and then we end up going higher. But we talked about it yesterday. We're getting way up here in overbought territory. So even though we had this news that they'll say is what sold the market off, it's funny how the timing came right when we were kind of expecting sometime within a few days probably getting some kind of a correction to relieve that overbought situation. And sure enough, it comes. So maybe it was the news, maybe it wasn't. They'll write it that way regardless. But we already knew it was coming anyway. We didn't need any news to tell us it was coming. We knew it was coming because the chart tells us it's coming. So that's the beauty of learning how to read the chart and understanding price action. But enough of that. Like I said, I'm going to go through these trades quickly. And again, I apologize about it, but let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart and take a look. Okay, here's that chart. I did verify I've got volume now. It is recording audio. So we spent the majority of this day going sideways. We had a huge sell-off here. But it was done by 10:30 or so, and then it was just sideways. So, and it wasn't consistent sideways action, so it wasn't real easy to trade. I mean, there's some trades here, but the real key is there wasn't many trades to the downside. So, it just was one of those days, and it was hard to trade it. But let's zoom in, and you can see we early we had the two measured legs down, and it looked like we might reverse, but this thing just boom. And remember this, here's the news item right here. So all this big movement was due to news. I would say 95% of the time, maybe 98% of the time, the price action will take the news move back and it'll reset within an hour or two. Now every once in a while it'll start a rally or a sell off and it doesn't come back. But 90 to 95% of the time you can bet almost within an hour or two that the market's going to take that sell off back, reset. Notice how we kind of reset going back similar to what we had before, and then we start this real sell off. So it looks like, I mean, for whatever reason, why does it rally on the news here and then take it all back and then have a day like this? Who knows? But that's why you don't get caught up in this news stuff. We knew that there was a chance of a sell off because we were getting into overbought territory. And we've seen it happen over and over. And so the chart's telling us. So you didn't need any news item to tell you to take back that it was time for a correction. But anyway, you can see you had to be out during this blue part, so there really wasn't anything to trade prior to that. And then we get a reversal pattern here. At one time I used to mark these reversals blue or green, or blue or red, I'm sorry. And I started marking them all green because some people said that I was misleading people, causing people to lose money or whatever. But I say it over and over and over. If you're new to this and you're not profitable, you don't want to trade these reversals. If you hear me say reversal, unless you're a profitable trader that's can read this chart like the back of your hand, stay away from these. You need to learn them organically. Um, just let them come to you that way. There's a reason I don't put them in the manual, and there's a reason people got mad because I was marking them. I'd still explain that you shouldn't take them, that you should ignore them, but people would take them and they lose money because they don't understand them. So they're very advanced, very much more complicated pattern to understand. You can't. A lot of times, if you're just getting the pattern right with the direction, you're good to go. But here, you can have the direction right and see the pattern and still be wrong because you only want to trade these patterns. There's two kinds. There's a reversal failure. These are failed second entries, and there's a reversal failure, and there's a continuation pattern failure. And you have to be able to distinguish between the two, and a continuation is only going to happen on a long-term trend line. It's the only place you'll ever see a continuation. The reversals are going to happen at a high or a low when you're looking for a reversal. So that's all I'm going to say about them. They're not for everybody. They're for probably less than 5% of you. But I've had people say, hey, I wish you'd go back to marking them red or blue. And so that's what I'm going to do. And if you trade them and you fail, don't blame Mac for it, because Mac told you not to trade them. I'm telling you now, don't trade them. 95% of you should ignore these. Actually, probably 99% of you. So just don't trade them. But I want to put them on there because people ask for them. There's a handful of people that have been doing this for a long time. The guy that asked me about it today, he's been following me for 5 or 6 years. And he wants me to mark them red or blue. Doesn't understand why anybody would disagree differently. And I kind of felt that way, but I was going to go with what people asked me to do. So anyway, I need to get going with the trades. Enough of that. Don't trade these if you're new to this and you're learning. Don't trade these. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll say it every time just about. But I'm going to mark them blue or red, but they're advanced and they're only for certain people. So anyway, it's a reversal, and normally you want to see a reversal, the entry happen underneath the EMA. But because we hadn't even got back to the EMA and there's still plenty of room, I like this one because it's still going to trap people. And you can see how, boom, the bottom falls out. It actually gives you a little lower high in the second entry, but you got to go short right into all that mess. It does confirm the trend line. It's just dangerous going short into that EMA, and that's why the only reason I like it here, because you got enough room to offset that problem if it bounces at the EMA, and it could bounce there, especially with this being, if it breaks above that, it's a second entry long there too. So I don't like that one, and you kind of get a repeat of it right here with the 2R match, and you just can't trade that. It's too unpredictable. We come back down here, we bounce, we get a close outside here and a second entry short, and we get a break of that channel and a new high. I like going short right there. It makes a nice move down and then kind of bounces. Notice where it bounces at the close from yesterday, oddly enough. And we just kind of chop along around. It's just like the market doesn't know what to do here. This is pitiful. There's just nothing there. Don't try to trade that stuff. Then we finally run up, and it's still doing the same thing. Just don't try to trade this. It's just not worth it. You'll get chopped to pieces. Then finally you get a little bit of a trend up, and you need at least 3 trending bars to make a trend channel, even a micro trend. So if you don't get at least 3 trend bars, don't try to draw a trend channel. And then you do get a close outside new high, and it's just chopping around. You might take that trade. That's really congested, but it's way away from the EMA. You're probably going to pull back and test this even if it's going higher. So when you finally get a decent bar that makes a high, that gets a break below it, maybe you trade that one. Your second entry was right here, but I wouldn't trade, and even it was 4 ticks, and it did break higher first and turn down. Um, but I just think it was early. But once it starts going sideways and it can't go higher, and then you get a signal bar, maybe you take it. I mean, I'm not crazy about it. I marked it green because you could have said the same thing right here, and I don't know if you'd have got out of that trade or not. Is there 6 ticks there? Yeah, there is. You probably would have come. Well, I can't tell if there's. Maybe there's 6 ticks there. I don't know. It would have been close. Let me zoom in here a little more. Let's try that one more time. I said I'm going to rush through this thing. No, see, there's not enough room to get out of there. You'd have got burned on that. So that's why I'm not crazy about that one. This one comes all the way down. You might say, okay, this is one of those really strong trends, and anywhere you get a signal bar off the key entry point, maybe you go short. Well, you can see it's a strong trend. Lots of dojis, and you just keep going lower. The corrections just aren't even a bar too. There's a possible entry. There's a signal bar possible entry. There's another one. And then this is 2 sideways. So those are all possibilities. You can see that's one of those strong trends I talk about. Real tight, and there's lots of dojis, but it just keeps going lower. Any correction just barely. I mean, you can't even get a bar that closes higher here. It's just very bearish. And then once we met our measured move, you got to be careful now. It's tempting to go along there, but it's too close to the EMA, and it may touch it and turn down. Although we're probably going to get some kind of 2-legged correction here because we've had we've had 2 legs down, and that's the target. And so for that reason, I would probably measure this whole thing now, and then come to your 2 legs, and then so that would be my next target. And lo and behold, that's pretty close to the bottom. Amazing how that works, huh? But anyway, we get this correction here. It's 2 legs. There's a 2-legged correction in the middle, and there's 2 legs up. So it's a leg up, 2-legged correction, and the second leg up. So that's still 2 legs up. If you got a good signal bar there, I'd say go short, but you don't get it. And then all this is getting too choppy again. If you got a good short, maybe you take that. You do get a breakout here, and this doesn't make. There's 1 tick difference in these 2 bars, but if you get a break below that in this negative bar, it's probably going to get back in the range and go the other side. That's what it's been doing. So maybe you take that one. And if you do take that one, I don't think you get a runner because I think it comes back and gets break even. Unless you played it a little, gave it a little room, you're probably not going to get a runner. But then you get a break there, 2 legs down, and now you got a new trend going higher. But this is so negative, you don't even make a new high there. You just get a break and then a lower high. Now, I marked this one green. It's moved a little far to call that a lower high. But it breaks higher here and fails on a big bullish bar, 2 in a row, actually. And so if you traded that on the engulfing bar, it's probably going to trap people. Now, once this closed with that much stem, I'd stay away from it. So if you didn't enter on the engulfing bar, you definitely don't want to enter that one. And even then, it's still a little aggressive because you're pressing the rules a little bit. But this is a very strong downtrend. So maybe you do take that one, the engulfing bar. If you do, you probably get a runner on that one. It runs down, and you really don't get a good signal bar on this one because you don't want to trade that on the engulfing bar. And none of these others break higher till here, and that just looks too sideways. Even though you got a very big negative bar off the key entry point there. And it is 2 legs back, so it's a hidden second entry, but it just looks too sideways to me. You know, it would have worked. I guess you might argue for it to be green in real time. I did not like it. And I felt vindicated about my not liking it after we started going sideways, but it still would have worked. And we're just making a range. You get a little failed breakout. But this makes too high of a high and closes outside the upper part of the little range working across there. So you really can't enter that. I don't see any longs here. Then you get a failed breakout. But that moves too far to trade that. I'd want a higher low here before I get to the EMA, and you don't get it. You actually get two legs up. So again, you get a repeat of something similar here, although this is sideways. That big bar is so tempting, but with it being right into that support, I mean, it would have ended up working, but who wants to ride all that out and go through all that stress? So, and then it drops lower here and it tries to go higher. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars and fails, and you do get at least two good tests of the support resistance, and it acts as resistance in a downtrend. I like going short there. And it's a quick scalp, but you don't get anything more than that out of it, unfortunately. And then you get this trend working, but you don't even get a signal bar on this one. Notice how nothing breaks higher till here. And I wouldn't go short right into the lows right there. You're probably overdue to come back to the EMA, so sit tight on that one. And this thing takes off back to the trend line, and that actually does confirm the trend line. Notice that you don't get a setup here though. You don't get a lower high, and then it's going higher again, and we get a close outside the trend line. Now there's a first, second, third entry here. It looks like two legs up though, so maybe if you get a lower high, which comes here but is no good, but then you get that triple test, the failure again. It's like a repeat pattern from early this morning right after the news. And so I like that one. Plus it's back inside the range, so it's just kind of the same concept. You got a big rally up, it was kind of overdone, and then boom, the bottom falls out again. Same concept. And you get a break, new low. That one's tempting, but it's outside the trend channel and it's acting as resistance. So just wait, see if you get something better, and you really don't until way over here. Notice you get another failed breakout. This time you make a higher high than all these others, and you make a higher low. So it breaks above that, it'll probably at least retest the highs. If you got room there, take it. It's not a perfect trade. It's just a first entry, but it's somewhat of a higher low that comes back and tests the channel support, and it holds. So there's a good chance it'd go back at least to the midline, maybe all the way back up here. And you see what happens. It does get above the midline, but it just can't get any higher. And you test that at least 3 times with a big bearish bar. I like going short there. A lower high here, but it's moved too far. This looks like a reversal, but you don't take a reversal into the lows. You'd want it to be somewhere way up near the highs. So no, you can't trade that reversal, or that failure is what I should call that. Even though it's in a continuation type pattern, the bigger pattern is the range at this point. And we do shoot a little lower, and we can't find all that support. It's tempting to want to enter down there. This one was the only possibility I saw, but by that time it's just too congested. But notice how it makes a higher low, and then you get a failed second entry short that reverses. It breaks lower and fails and turns up. I don't think I would take that on the engulfing bar. You got to wait for that to close, but then I like it right there. So I like that one. That one runs on up. You do get a pullback here, but you can't enter that. And you actually get a second entry long here that tests the support area again, which normally I'd like, but the signal bar is just not good enough. It's a possibility, but that signal bar doesn't qualify, and we've already moved our measured move distance here. So prices are probably trying to get some kind of reversal going. So I'm just not crazy about that one. It's so tempting, but it could easily break higher and come back and test it and make a little lower low and stop you out, and then turn and go where you thought it was going to go. You want to see if maybe you get a higher low here, but you don't. It just takes off. So I think you have to skip that one. But we do get in this range, and you get a triple test with a high or low here with a good signal bar. So I like that one. No way to go short in there. And this one's tempting, but there's not much room left there. It's late in the day. It looks really congested, and you only got 4 or 5 ticks to play with there. Just skip that. And that takes you into nothing else here. It just takes you into 230. And I mean, that's a hard range to trade. There's just no setups there other than that one. And there it is. And I know I feel like I rushed through that. I probably did. I did rush through it, but I tried to do the best I could. I didn't intend on making it 20 more minutes because I've been working on this thing for an hour, over an hour now. And I haven't even processed the video and uploaded it yet. And it's almost 7 o'clock here. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you had a good week. No chart lesson tomorrow. It's Friday. I don't do them on Friday. We'll be back Monday. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.